I've been playing ARPGs for years now. Apart from first-person shooters, they're probably my favorite genre of video games. For the uninitiated, ARPG stands for Action Role-Playing Game, and are played from an isometric view with a heavy focus on building your character to deliver quick and satisfying gameplay. There's something about the overhead camera and flashy but fun combat that makes me feel like I'm being wrapped in a warm blanket. It's so easy to put one of these on and just grind some gear with friends while talking about something else. But I do have one glaring issue with games like this, and I just can't keep it inside any longer. ARPGs have been stagnant for over 20 years now. I know this may come off as harsh for some people, but don't worry, I'm gonna explain myself. One of my main gripes with ARPGs is that they follow the template that Diablo and Diablo 2 popularized back in the late 90s and early 2000s without much deviation. It surprised me when I played Diablo 2 Resurrected last year and just how well that game has aged. I mean, besides some of the clunkiness of the controls, and there not being a dedicated endgame other than replaying it on higher difficulties, it pretty much felt like playing any other modern ARPG. Don't believe me? Okay, let's do a little test then. I'm gonna name some features of an ARPG, and you're gonna guess which game I'm talking about. Ready? Alright. This game has randomly generated environments, takes you to different parts of a fictional world which is very light on story, but heavy on the lore. It tips itself off with an endgame mode centered around queuing up randomly generated dungeons that mix and match enemy types and environments you've progressed through in the campaign for better rewards. Which game did I just describe? Well, it's kind of a trick question. It's actually quite a few of them. I've been playing these games for decades now, and I haven't come across one game that has surprised me in the slightest with its mechanics. The most that gets changed up is how you can build your character, which is cool, but I don't really care all that much for it if I'm just going to be doing the same thing I've done in the last 5 ARPGs that I played. These games seem to always make you so much stronger than your enemies and have so many options, but the enemies you face are just the exact same. I want you to go boot up your favorite ARPG and then tell me that you know any of the attack patterns for any of the enemies in the game. And no, the bosses that you fight at the end of each act don't count. In other action games, you have to watch what your enemies are doing and find openings to attack or else you'll get punished for it. In ARPGs, it's just a clusterfuck of particle effects and it's just a mess to look at. I feel like whenever I encounter enemies, my eyes just glaze over and I resort to mashing my skills until everything's dead. The worst part is that it works every time. I kind of wish there would be less enemies on the screen and that the enemies that are there are competent enough to make me pay attention. Okay, I kinda lied before about there not being any mechanics that have surprised me lately. There is one time I remember saying, "Holy shit, I can do what?" when playing one of these games. And that was when I found out you could rotate the camera in Grim Dawn. Yeah. You know the genre lacks innovation when the fact that you can now move the camera blew my mind. Now, I'm gonna list my main gripe with these games. It seems like this is where a lot of the development time goes, and if I'm being honest, I think it would be better spent elsewhere. This is one of my most controversial opinions, so buckle up and please just hear me out. I think these games need to chill the fuck out with all the loot. Nope, wait! Before you hit that dislike and click away, just listen. I don't think that loot systems need to be thrown away entirely, or that it would be a good thing for these games. I just think that the loot grind is getting in the way of enjoying the game to its fullest potential. I like building my character and looking cool and finding gear that makes you want to change your playstyle. It's one of the main reasons that these games are so fun and addictive. But what's not fun is sorting through 30 pieces of gear that have dropped in the hopes of finding one good item, only to run and kill the next mob of enemies and do it all over again. It gets extremely tedious and really breaks up the flow of the action. It's so bad that when I play with other people, we have makeshift rules around not stopping to equip gear until you get back to town. And we've all had that moment when you get a new cool weapon and you're like, whoa, this is sick. Okay, the bonuses are great too. Man, I'm so excited to use this. It's gonna carry me through so many dungeons. Oh. Is this better? Well, okay. I guess I'll use this one now. Even though it looks like shit, and I kinda hate it. In my opinion, having a standard loot system like most RPGs have with some extra randomized elements would still keep you on that grind for new equipment without making your questing seem pointless. It's one of the main reasons why I've enjoyed Lost Ark so much recently. And side note, a lot of people are saying Lost Ark isn't an ARPG. Okay, I mean, it says right here on the website, so I'm gonna go ahead and include it here. I think ARPGs have an immense amount of potential, and with new entries to the genre still coming out on a regular basis, I still think that potential can be fully realized. When it was first announced, I was pretty excited for Diablo 4. Hearing about it having a set open world with randomized dungeons did leave me a little disappointed, but I thought everything else about it looked great. My opinions have changed though. After playing Elden Ring, I think having a carefully curated open world is definitely the way to go. It allows for exploration that feels meaningful, and it gives the artists and level designers the breathing room to really go hog wild with the environments. Not having to make a tile set that fits together naturally with other procedural generation is, in my opinion, a solid step forwards for the franchise. However, I have lost hope of playing this game for a few reasons. Number one is the fact that Activision Blizzard is a terrible company, and in light of the allegations coming out about the workplace behavior, I don't want to support the company any longer. Even playing Diablo 2 Resurrected felt kind of gross to me, so until there are actual changes and that slimeball Bobby Kotick is out, I don't want to support the company any longer. The second reason is that development has been troubled since the very beginning. With all the changes in leadership, I don't think the game will have the tight focus needed to pull out a win. I have not lost hope for an open-world, exploration-based ARPG though. As I was editing this video, I came across a bug that someone found while playing Elden Ring. When you fall off a cliff in any FromSoft games, there's kind of a death camera that happens, and it locks to an overhead perspective as you fall.
Not a good spot for me to be here, I'm just gonna get stuck. What? Oh, I thought there was a wall there.
Well, someone managed to fall and escape death, but the camera was still locked in that isometric perspective, allowing them to play that way. Now, it goes without saying, but you can't properly play the game in this mode. If you raise elevation too high, the camera starts to act all wonky, and I can't imagine it feels all too good to control. Even so, I found this footage so interesting, because it reassured me of a lot of what I was expressing throughout this video. The landscapes in this game are beautiful, and the thought of exploring something similar in an ARPG would be incredible. Before I end the video, I want to reiterate that I love these types of games. I don't think I'll ever stop playing them, but I want to see that next step taken. I want another Diablo 2. Not a carbon copy in terms of mechanics, but a true elevation of the format that we saw with its release. Don't give us more loot to grind and leave it at that. Give us a reason to explore these worlds, and reward us for our curiosity.